Good afternoon. It's day 51. I didn't do any video yesterday because we literally sat at the Airbnb in bed eating pizza and watching Netflix all day long. And it was funny because we were actually watching a sci-fi TV show that we've been keeping up with, and they were talking about hiking from Big Bear, which is where we're heading next, up to Seattle, and they were all pristine and clean and washed and wearing jeans, and we were just finding it endlessly amusing how inaccurate walking across the country is in the show. So it was really funny, but we literally did nothing. I didn't get out of bed for more than 10 minutes at a time. It was great. But yeah, so usually what we do on 0 days is when we need to resupply, we have a place that we're staying, we go and grab food, we go back, explode everything, and do it that way. But this time around, our Airbnb, it was a really nice place, but it was also kind of off in the boonies where it was just miles from any store or anything like that, and so we couldn't go grab stuff and take it back to the Airbnb and explode it without spending a bunch of money on an Uber. So today we have come out to Palm Springs, and there's a Walmart, and so we are we just grabbed a bunch of food, and we're expecting a really long stretch. The stretch between Capizon and Big Bear apparently is super washed out. There's a lot of water crossings. It's all sandy. There's not really a well-defined trail. And so people are saying that it just took them forever to get through the miles. People who normally do decent mileage days were saying that they could barely get through a normal mileage. It just was doubling their time, so we're expecting to go slow, which means that we are packing ridiculous amounts of food. It doesn't help that we actually went shopping on empty stomachs, and so I think we grabbed way more food than we actually really reasonably needed. But first couple of days we'll eat really well. Probably just to get everything out of our packs. But it was kind of funny. It's our, not our first experience being hiker trash, but we went into the Walmart with our packs, bought all our stuff, and now we're sitting out front of the Walmart on the sidewalk right next to the building, exploding all the food, taking it out of its packaging, putting it in Ziplocs, and then exploding our bags and putting them in. And so we're getting a lot of really funny looks, lots of side eyes. So we're almost done here. We do have a few extras, like they only came in big boxes, and so we're not going to use the whole box. So we're probably going to leave some trail magic under the I-10 bridge, the underpass, for hikers coming up behind us. Yeah, and I think we're gonna, once we're done here, we're going to go see if we can find some Crocs or something for all the water crossings. Otherwise we're either going to be doing it barefoot or just have some wet feet. And then we're going to probably find somewhere to eat. There's a Panda Express and a Five Guys burger and a bunch of stuff. So we're gonna go find something to eat, and then we will be heading back to trail. So it should be a decent stretch. It's like 55 miles from here to Big Bear, or rather from where we got off trail to Big Bear. And so we're kind of planning on hoping to do a decent mileage, 10 mile, 8 to 12 mile days. We're hoping to pick up the pace, but apparently this stretch is just nasty. So we'll just kind of see. We're planning, we're bringing extra food just in case we're out there longer than we hope, so that we don't get stuck without food. But yeah, that's pretty much all the update we have. I'll see you when we're back on trail. update. We got back to the I-10 overpass, and because the resupply was so rushed outside Walmart, things just weren't organized. I had food spilling out of every pocket. It was ridiculous. So we got here and exploded my pack, and I repacked everything, and we were talking with some other hikers, and by the time that we were ready to go, it was like 5:30, and technically, according to Gut Hooks, the next campsite is 10 miles away. We hear that there's plenty of campsites before then, but we just didn't really want to risk it necessarily. So we decided to finally check that off the list, and we are sleeping under the I-10 overpass tonight. So we have set up our tent in a little tent spot that somebody made. Here. I mean, technically you could fit a whole army under here of thru hikers. But so we have set up. There's trash here, which means that we'll be able to dump dinner trash before we leave. And we're gonna try to get up early tomorrow morning and hit about 10 miles tomorrow to that first official campsite. But we'll see. Our packs are stupid heavy because we expect this to be a bit of a slower stretch because of all the navigation and all the crap, since the trail is just non-existent in this stretch. So yeah, we're sleeping under a bridge tonight. We did hear that there is a small 3-acre wildfire in this stretch that started today, I believe. The Forest Service is out there fighting it. We could see the smoke and smell the smoke from where we are here in Cabazon. So we're keeping an eye on that. The PCTA hasn't reported any trail closures. When we checked the SoCal Mountains report website, they said that they think that they will have it under control and cease its outward spread, and so it looks like it might not affect us at all, other than having the skies be a little smoky. But that was definitely something where we're like, oh crap. I mean, it's May, it's heading towards wildfire season, we know it's going to happen. We know we're gonna run into bad stretches when wildfires really get going this summer. But thankfully it looks like this one is gonna be under control, and it hopefully shouldn't affect us badly during this stretch up to Big Bear. We did bounce our micro spikes ahead. There's no reported snow between here and Big Bear, and we are supposed to get some bad weather this week, both here in Cabazon and in Big Bear. Lots of rain, potentially thunder and lightning storms, and we're climbing too, so this should be a very interesting stretch. Like all told, it should be a very eventful stretch ahead, so we'll just see. I mean, we're definitely not the only ones out here, so we won't be the only ones suffering through it. But it should be fun, should be hard and interesting. We picked up some, so one of the reasons that we got back here so late is because we hear that a good portion of this next stretch through the Mission Creek area is nothing but water crossings and walking in sand and a bunch of stuff, and so we decided I've been dying for some camp shoes for a while, and I picked up when we were in Idlewild the first time, I found a pair of sandals, like Crocs type sandals, in one of the hiker boxes that fit me, but I just didn't like them. They weren't as comfortable as I had hoped, and they were a little too big. So we finally stopped, while we were here in town, we stopped at a shoe store, and we went and got Crocs. But the regular, like, rubber Crocs that most people have when you, like, most people think of Deadpool style kind of Crocs, those, they stick on your feet, but I can't see them sticking to your feet really, really well when you're in water. And that's kind of one of the reasons we want them. And I want an alternative to, like, hiking shoes in case I'm having bad blisters or whatever. Camp shoes in the middle of the night that I don't have to worry about scorpions, like, being invisible in and stuff like that. So we were looking at their Crocs selection, and Crocs came out with like a full sandal thing. They're still super lightweight. They're still kind of like a rubber-ish, but they have this like permanent back little strap thing. Still have the holes and everything, but this is actually like a cloth mesh fabric, kind of like river shoes. So they are super breathable, they're super lightweight, like maybe half a pound both of them together, but probably not even that, probably just a few ounces. Like, they're really nothing. So they have good grip and stuff. I mean, not like super tread, but they should do. And so finally have some good camp shoes and river crossing shoes, which I'm really happy about. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for an update. We're just sitting here. There's a bunch of hikers coming in. I doubt we'll be the only ones camping here. Most people are trying to get into town or pushing through to Big Bear. But I would be very surprised if we ended up the only ones camping under the ITED tonight. Yeah, I think that's about it. Corey's off socializing. I am super weird, and I have to get my bed set up and have to get everything like in its place before I can relax in the evenings. So I'm always, he's like, I'm gonna go socialize, and I'm like, all right, I'll be out when I'm done setting up camp, because he has no problem like going off, eating food, and it's super late and we're ready for bed, and like setting up his bed and being done. And I'm like, have to have it done right the moment the tent is set up so that I can go and eat and hang out and do whatever, and then as soon as I'm ready to crash, I can just like dive into bed and be done. So yeah, that's about it, I think. We're all good. Oh, I was saying that there's no snow. So we got rid of our micro spikes, and we bounced them to Big Bear, but there's no snow between here and Big Bear. And then we saw a post of somebody posting up pictures of their Mount Baden-Powell summit. And Baden-Powell didn't look to have much snow at all, and they were saying that there's hardly any snow up there, which Baden-Powell was supposed to be bad. So it must be melting very quickly. San Jacinto still is pretty gnarly. And while we did our zero, there was snow falling on the mountain again. Not much, it'll melt super quick, and it's supposed to be raining the next few days, so who knows, like that Mount San Jacinto, and I think San Gregorio? Something like that. The one that we're in between right now. They both have quite a bit of snow still, so I'm kind of surprised that Baden-Powell doesn't, but either way, by the time we get there, the snow should be completely melted or nearly melted. So we might not need our micro spikes or our ice axes until the Sierras, if we do the Sierras. That's still, we're not going to make a decision until we get there, kind of thing. And frankly, I'm going to say this right now, if we have no snow between here and Kennedy Meadows, I will be so happy. Fuller Ridge and everything that came before Fuller Ridge, that was enough snow for me, I'm not gonna lie. It could just be because Fuller Ridge and like from Paradise Valley Cafe to Fuller Ridge was just kind of an awful stretch for me. It might just have been my mindset. But like while we were in town, we were talking to and hearing about a bunch of people who literally took like, they were being cautious, they were being careful, they were doing everything they were supposed to, and the snow still gave way under them on Fuller Ridge, so the ridge that we went over. We talked to one dude who tripped and fell 200 feet. Like didn't trip, the snow gave out under his foot and he went flying down the hill for 200 feet of snow. And then there was another guy that we saw who was all banged up and just messed up. We saw him in Cabazon, and he was getting off trail because he slipped and went careening down the snowfields up near Fuller Ridge, and there were Facebook posts, and so it's like it's happening a fair amount. And like I'm so happy that we like got through there with just like mild accidental glissading, but I was definitely having some anxiety dealing with some of those snow slopes. Like that was crazy. So, and I'm just not as experienced in snow traversing as I would prefer. I've done some. We've definitely hiked in snow. If you guys have watched my video about us doing Silver Star via Grouse Vista or whatever it was, in the snow, like we've done some stuff. We've taken a snow skills class specifically for coming out here. We know how to use ice axes and micro spikes and everything, but I'd prefer to have like a hell of a lot more experience under my belt than I do. So anyway, I'm rambling on now, but yeah, that's pretty much the plan. So I'm gonna go and make burritos. We found like pre-made refried beans like in packages, and some like shredded pork and a bunch of like burrito filling stuff. So we have tortillas, so we're gonna have burritos tonight for dinner. Very excited about it. All right, have a good night. I'll check in with you guys in the morning. So Corey came out here determined to end up with a handlebar mustache, and he just got his first little thing of mustache wax because he was getting more and more.
It's getting hard to eat.
I started having to tell him that he had tons of food in his mustache. He's like, "Oh, I know," and he kept biting it.
I take one bite, napkin. Oh yeah, you pull off the hairs, they go up your nose. Life is hard.
So now he has this crazy hair and crazy beard and epic mustache.